I'm with Elana Heideman from Israel Forever Foundation, and we're talking about Hanukkah. Hanukkah started with a tragedy in Australia. It's yet another tragedy for the Jewish people. What are your thoughts on this, Ilana?
My thoughts are we continue to live history. We continue to see it unfold before our eyes. And I myself am no longer shocked. Thank you again for having me today. It's a very difficult day, that first night of Hanukkah, to see a very public attack against Jews in a public space with a very clear motive, with the shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia and Sydney. So far, the death count is up to 16. We know that there are dozens more who are injured. We know so much more about the incident, but some of the most poignant details stand out because they force us to say, how did it happen? How did it happen so easily? And how can we do more ourselves to stop the next time and cope with each time? Because they will not all stop, not until the world does something more. So, yeah, it's a very, very intense day, this very first full day of Hanukkah, with the lights burning and so many tragedies and also so many miracles. They live side by side. It's a very heavy day, I hope, for other places in the world. Many aren't aware that there were 4 or 5 other attacks in the same time period. Brown University in Rhode Island, where a Jewish teacher was targeted because of her pro-Semitic, pro-Israel, proud Jewish identity, teaching a class, I believe, on economics at the time, on a Saturday morning in Rhode Island. There was also an attack in Amsterdam against the Hanukkah festival that was taking place. And there are unfortunately so many other little instances that we wouldn't even be able to garner enough apathy or empathy either way for people to care. It's becoming commonplace every day to open the news and to see an attack against Jews.
Is this globalize the Intifada? And are those who are shouting globalize the Intifada responsible for this attack? Do they have blood on their hands?
Absolutely 100%. And one of the benefits that this Palestinianism death cult has brought to the world has been these catchphrases, which allow them complete innocence, as if they are fighting a social justice cause. The idea of globalizing the Intifada, being targeted Jews for somehow supporting what they claim to be a genocidal state. All of these fabricated claims are all responsible. And every single individual who has waved a flag or held a banner or spread a lie, and that's really the biggest issue. You have a lot of light colored skin, Caucasians, as you call them, former Christians, many of them, new Muslims. They are bannering themselves around this death cult of Palestinianism. Every single one of them, have blood on their hands. But globalizing the Intifada is simply its catchphrase, like from the river to the sea. And making these terms illegal won't even matter unless you actually do more within the populations themselves to stop this from being so easily acceptable.
It seems that Jewish holidays are becoming a target. October the 7th was on a Jewish holiday. The Manchester attacks were on a Jewish holiday, and now Bondi Beach. Are Jews going to be fearful to have a Jewish holiday now?
We won't be fearful to have the holiday because we will always have our holidays for 2,000 years. They've tried to kill us. We won. Let's eat. Let's pray. Let's sing. Let us shed our light on the world. But yes, you're going to see many more people having private ceremonies, not going to public spaces unless security is provided. And even when security is provided, as we've seen in the many different instances, but most recently on Bondi Beach, the police watched as they fired more than 50 rounds for 20 minutes. No one did anything. There was a Lebanese Christian man who is being held up as the hero of the day, and rightly so. Unfortunately, they believe that because his name is Ahmad al-Ahmad, he must be Muslim, and they're hailing him as a Muslim hero. One of the things we must be very clear about is that they are few and far between, those who are moderate Muslims and who are willing to stand up to the extremism that is dominating the world of all Islam and the Arab world. Ahmad al-Ahmad, for having taken out, notice he did not, if you've seen the video, he did not shoot the terrorists. He instead screamed at him, grabbed his gun, grabbed his back, jumped on his back, screamed at him, but he did not shoot at him, and neither did the police. No one took out the actual terrorists, and the shooting continued. The shooting by a father and son who were indoctrinated to believe, don't worry, their families will now be taken care of forever. They will become millionaires, like 119 of the prisoners released from Israel's prisons with blood on their hands. They too walk out millionaires and with PhDs and other degrees, because that is who the Jewish people are. We will go back to singing. We will continue to celebrate our holidays. We will raise our children to understand the significance that we are living history again and again, and the world of humanity is not sufficiently learning enough lessons to be able to change it.
Now, this was a father and son who committed this terrible act. And we've seen this also in October the 7th, where the son calls his father, "I've killed Jews," and the father is shouting, "Allah Akbar." What do you think drives this sort of thing, for a father and son to actually go out and kill Jews?
There are so many factors that are feeding this continuation. Not only is it from the blood of the home, so you raise your children to believe that this is the devil. They are so dehumanized that they have so dehumanized the Jew that they have made it so that the celebration of every murder is also a part of their ideology, such as the celebrations after 9/11 and the distribution of candies and sweets in the streets after every single terror attack. It doesn't matter that someone's life has been taken from amongst their own because the Jew has been killed. They've been raised from their mother's milk. That's what we used to say, in the old days, in the 1800s. There's a Yiddish phrase, in the anti-Semitism of Europe, it was fed from the mother's milk. And we see that in this world. Again, there's a tough distinction. Is it Arab? Is it Muslim? Is it extremism? Is it Palestinianism? What is its name? And when you can't name the enemy, the danger among you, truly the best name is Hamas, only because it is evil. That's the definition. That's the term from the Bible for evil, one of them. And, and it reminds us that we should know that it's coming. It is said again and again. We know that evil is coming. So I think one of the points of the father and the son is to realize that they saw this as an opportunity. They were probably quite proud of this, as many of the mass murderers, some of them, they're being excused as mentally ill. If you look at the trend in America, well, he was mentally unstable. Well, yes, all terrorists are mentally unstable because their reason for being is the murder of Jews. Yes, it will often happen on Jewish holidays. By the way, that's been something true throughout history, throughout the entire breadth of Jew hatred as it has expressed itself in time. Always, it makes the Jew the easy target. That's when we gather, our defenses are down. Nobody would be carrying any defense tools. Mind you, for many years, that self-defense was not a part of the Jewish way of living. We are Torah studying, wanting to just live in peace and to raise our children to love God and to love good. Jews are the embodiment of godliness on this earth. And I think it's crucial to realize that this father and son is one of billions of fathers and sons that, if they are compensated sufficiently and they are trained effectively, you see the video how well trained these shooters are. In a country, by the way, with very strict gun laws. So when you see these Islamic cities being built throughout America, especially in places that do have more lax gun laws, one must deduct what is coming next. One must be reasonable to understand. There are more fathers and sons. There are more young women who will hide it under their hijab. They will be more coming. And so we cannot be shocked. We must become prepared.
Now, you're not Australian, but do Jews feel this all around the world?
Everywhere there is a beating heart. It is felt. We don't want to put I'm dealing with children at home who have survived war. So you're very careful. How do you speak about it? And then the Jews in another place, you don't want to talk to your kids about it because you don't want them to be afraid to go out. But if we don't talk about it, then we're also being naive. So it's very difficult time that we feel it so deeply, but we're also stifled from not wanting to inflame fear. Fear, we have a wonderful song we sing that the whole world is a narrow bridge, and the essential thing is to not be afraid. Kol haolam kulo gesher tsar meod. The whole world is a narrow bridge because that's how Jews feel. We're so intimately feeling one another because we know that we share this lived experience even when it's far away. We share the spiritual experience even when it's far away. So then that second phrase of Rabbi Nachman from Breslov, of his idea that, but the whole essence is not to be afraid, is how do we talk about it? How do we do more? How do we create better security for ourselves, for our family members? There are Jews everywhere, individual and collective, being targeted that nobody ever hears about. There are mothers who do not want to report it because what's the use? Just the reporting alone and dealing with that is a trauma. And we want to minimize trauma for ourselves and for others in the world. It's actually why Jews have been so actively involved in helping to build the therapeutic methods of coping, because we have been coping for 2,000 years. We're not going to stop, but we do believe that education needs to be improved amongst those in the world. You know, there are 2 children who were killed yesterday. This little Miss Rachel for littles, this little naive thing who has become enamored by the Palestinianism, the disease of Gazanism, I will call it. You know, she hasn't said anything about the children who were killed yesterday, or the little girl who lost her parents in the chaos, and a 7-month-old pregnant woman lay on top of her in order to protect her. And the Holocaust survivor who protected his wife's body with his own, but she too a Holocaust survivor, and he is amongst the murdered. And my friend Arson, who is amongst the injured. The trauma is so broad that we feel it even if it did not pierce our skin.
Is Hanukkah supposed to be a joyous holiday? And how are you feeling today?
I'm having a really tough time. I won't lie. You choke back tears. You don't want your kids to see them. You know, we deal with enough here in Israel. Again, we had 4 attempted terror attacks yesterday. One was a stabbing at a border that is relatively close to my home where I passed through. You know, these stories don't matter in the scope of things in the world so much anymore. Terror in Israel is a norm. I'm having a tough time, but it makes us want to find new and creative ways to create joy and do something happy. And then there are a lot of people who say, no, I just want to sit at home and be sad a little. The videos that we've seen remind us so much of October 7th and the running. These are Jew hunts. Call them what they are. They are Jew hunts, and they are going to be hunting more. And so Hanukkah, we have to keep shedding our light, maybe add another Chanukiah. We are still praying for the return of Ran Gvili, the last hostage, though hostage in whose name Torah has been written on the site of the Nova massacre. The Torah project was being initiated for the merit of the return of all the hostages, not just for him. And what does it say? That he's the last hostage, this young man, this young police officer who was about to go into heaven, was doing a shoulder surgery, and he left the emergency room. His father said, do not go. And he left the emergency room and he ran to the border. And he ended up at Kibbutz Alumim. And they say that the videos of the fight, he was a hero, like in the Hollywood movies. But at the end of the day, after he took out more than a dozen terrorists, they kidnapped his murdered body. And he is the last. What does his family do? This is the Jewish people for you. His family says, we have been gathering every Saturday night for the release, to call for the release of the hostages. But what we really need is to turn it to a Friday night ceremony now, so that we can welcome Shabbat. We can turn this pain, the last family, turn this pain into a good, turn it into prayers for the welcoming of our Shabbat. And last week was the very first Shabbat that it took place, these few days ago. Since then, we've had attacks on Jews all over the world. We are all lighting candles. We must light our candles. I've seen many people Christians around the world joining in the practice. We know that Charlie Kirk, he and his family had begun to keep Shabbat not too long before his execution, before his vile murder, and his wife continues to carry that torch. And look at what's happening within the Christian world. Infighting. You see, we're used to it amongst the Jewish people, the infighting. Everybody has a different opinion. One opinion stands true. What happens to the Jews does not end with the Jews. First, they come for the Saturday people, then they come for the Sunday people. Everyone must band together and find God and do more and speak out more and never get tired and never stop talking to your children. They and their grandchildren will continue to fight this war. This is not ending today or tomorrow. We are in a forever war against this type of ideology that believes that murder of the person who believes differently than them is acceptable. We all have to do more. We all have to do more.
Yeah, I was going to say the Jews and Christians need to stand together at this time. We're seeing Christians murdered in Nigeria. Do we need to stand together?
There have been more Sudanese murdered in the last 3 weeks than in the entirety of this war. They are screaming genocide by the Jews. There is no genocide. And all of the silence while they spouted these lies, that is why we are where we are today. They have legitimized the murder. There are Christians being killed everywhere. There are Alawites, there are Druze, they are being murdered everywhere. That this same ideology, by the way, let us not forget that there was an attack against Americans by a Syrian who is in a photo with al-Julani, the new head who had replaced al-Bashar when he was extracted. And, we need to see how deeply their web is woven, how tightly it's woven, so that we can discover how can we, and you forgive the extremist style of language, but how can we infiltrate and break down these systems that they have established over the last 40 to 50 years. Their alliance with Hitler was an ideological alliance of global domination. Now, when we use the word ideology, it's not just one or another. Sometimes they meet, as we see happening with far left and far right extremist anti-Semitism and thought. They are also meeting. They are going to become the axis of this next war. Who will the allies be? Who will be the saviors? Who will be the voices on the radio? Who will be the righteous among the nations who stand up for Jews so that it doesn't happen to them too? And it will happen, Paul. It will happen because no one is doing enough. As police officers did nothing again and again at every attack in Amsterdam, in Australia, in London, everywhere. Many of these police units have also been infiltrated, the medical units. There's going to be so much and so widespread chaos. No one will know how to track it. No one will know how to stop it at its source. Funding is one avenue. The need to put people behind tracking the funds, because where does it lead to? We already know today, one day later, that the Bondi attack was orchestrated by Iran and had the involvement of both ISIS and Hezbollah. There are multiple groups coming together, and this is only going to grow from father to son.
What is your prayer for Jews around the world today as they celebrate Hanukkah?
I hope that we allow ourselves a chance to cry and a new opening to learning about history of our personal experience without universalizing it. I mean by that we are often not allowed to have our Jewish experience without always having to think of the other who is suffering. I think that we need to have the right and the power in ourselves for people who maybe have not really become immersed in elements of the Jewish experience. It didn't interest them. They always wanted to hear everybody else's story. Maybe it's time that people would pick up a book and learn a little about how have we survived 2,000 years, because it didn't happen by chance. It happened because we fought. We fought back. The Maccabees fought back. They fought, they dreamed, they prayed. They were not ashamed to say, I have faith that God will save us and that even the worst things that are happening to us, this too, Gamzula Tova, this will also somehow be a lesson for good of the world. That's what God is bringing us right now. He's bringing us opportunities for us to learn more and to say, what more can I learn? What more must I learn? What more must I do? Sitting around and watching reels and just being an absorber of the news and just somebody who takes it in, that's not sufficient any longer. What will you translate it into? How will you fight this demon that is the Hamas machine, Hezbollah machine of propaganda and lies and manipulations, this Qatar run machine? And frankly, they've now infiltrated every single space, including every government. So do we trust? Who do we trust? How do we build new trusting communities in our neighborhood? How do we protect ourselves when they come banging onto our doors? A famous Jew in Hollywood was killed. And speculation, of course, is that, foul play within the family. Do you honestly think that we should be believing any of the news that we're hearing? If it's not coming from some grassroots resource, maybe it shouldn't be believed at all. But then what happens in the grassroots resources? They're spouting lies, just like, the people that Joe Rogan brings on his shows. You can have anybody say anything today, and if it's aired, somebody will believe it. The Jewish story, unfortunately, doesn't matter to anybody. So we have to make it matter. So my prayer for Jewish people is that this Hanukkah, you'll come and find out what it means to be a virtual citizen of the nation of Israel. Come and explore my website, israelforever.org. Come and explore anything you can that'll teach you something other than the lies spread everywhere else. You are being fed fake news. I hope for Jews that they find strength. I hope that we do more than just sing and laugh, but I hope we sing and laugh and we dance through our tears. And we learn a new song and we pick up 10 new Hebrew words, because my friends out there, if you're not thinking about Aliyah, then you are naive. If you are not thinking that the only place where you will be safe is where we are able to defend ourselves. That will not always be true everywhere in the world. And the Christians that you have here, your millions of listeners, your amazing souls who care enough about the homeland and the Holy Land and the holy people to listen, I really hope that you guys work together to start your defense units and learn what godliness and goodliness is about by banding together with your Jewish neighbors. That's all we can do now.
Remind us again of your website for people who'd like to know more about the work that you do.
IsraelForever.org is the site where you can go and explore all sorts of subjects, activities, crafts, recipes, you name it. We've got lots at your fingertips. Right now, we, of course, struggle, as many nonprofits do, seeking additional funds to be able to keep our wheels turning. And the most important place you can be following us right now is on our social platforms, because we know that's where you are. So come to Israel Forever Foundation on Instagram and elsewhere, and on Facebook, of course, and follow us, because we've got great projects that you can be a part of. They translate your actions there on the ground into mitzvot. So I'm going to mention our Hanukkah campaign, which is shedding light on the hostage families and their suffering, and those of the orphans' families, by distributing blessing blankets, these beautifully warm, cozy blankets that are made up of the artwork and messages that we have received from people all over the world. And we created this incredible blanket, but we need to get them to all of the 251 hostage families, and we need to get them to all of the families we can reach, and we need your help to do that. So we hope you'll consider coming and donating to the important cause that we fight here at Israel Forever, reminding the world that Israel is forever. This isn't about borders. This isn't about politics. This is about the eternal nation. This is about our ability to outlast even, yes, these attacks. You can join us. You can be part of the blessing. You can give a special message yourself. You can make it possible for us to reach these. And guess what? There are 28,000 injured soldiers, and they deserve a blanket. Their families too, and those who are reservists. So every single one of your giving dollars during this season makes a difference. Are we all fighting anti-Semitism in our own way? Yes. And we also have to fight the toxic impact. You want to send blankets off to the community in Australia? We'll help make it happen. We want to be able to spread love, spread support, spread warmth, because, yeah, it's a tough day today. And unfortunately, I am so confident. And I will not be surprised when another attack happens today, tomorrow, the next day. So stop being surprised and start being active. Give where you can give. Give your energy, your time, your voice, your funds to making a direct impact to stop that toxic impact. We are all blessed and to be in God's image. Let us live that godliness by doing the mitzvot we can do. Two Chabad rabbis lost their lives on Bondi Beach. The Chabad rabbi in India, by the way, I'm not sure you know, but there were four separate attacks in India that were thwarted last night. So we don't know how, we forget to be grateful because the attack is thwarted. Oh, okay, they caught them. And then somebody says, well, we live in a militaristic state. Come on, people. We have to defend ourselves. These attacks were thwarted for one reason and one reason only, and that's Israeli intelligence. So stand with Israel, stand with the Jewish people, find a way to do more. I'm here to help you, me and my baby little organization, Israel Forever. Come and be a part of it. And thank you so much for giving voice to our work every time you bring me on. It is a great appreciation to me. Thank you.
Well, Ilana, thank you very much for sharing today.
I wish you a Merry Christmas, Paul. I really hope that there, where you are, you stay safe. You are a strong one for being surrounded by everything and helping to spread teaching, honesty, and goodness. And your students are really lucky to have you, as are your listeners.